Welcome to Sex Positive Gaming. I'm Annie, and today we're going to look at the most popular adult content games on Steam of all time. Because Steam doesn't release sales figures, I use a bunch of variables to calculate a game's popularity. This includes the rating based on player reviews, the number of reviews, a game's average and peak concurrent player numbers, as well as the total number of followers a game has. These factors combined result in 4 tiers of popularity, which I have grouped into Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Bronze, like Steam does with their annual sales results. I have also included games that were not originally classified as adult content by Steam, but had patches or DLC to restore intended adult gameplay. As with all my YouTube videos, the list of games and links can be found for free on my Patreon, because YouTube has a habit of suspending me for linking to Steam. First up is the Bronze tier. As with everything on the list, all of these games are popular, but with Bronze tier there is at least 1 out of the 5 categories that has suboptimal performance. First up is Lust from Beyond. This is a Lovecraft meets alien adventure horror game with a hefty dose of sex and violence. I actually tried my first and only Let's Play with this game, but I can't handle jump scares and my IQ seems to drop a few standard deviations when I try to stream. If you do like erotic horror, then this is a great game to give a try. Next up is Glare One More. This title is weird. It is a game where you enter in words and you have a conversation. It's kind of creepy like Doki Doki Literature Club, but without the beauty and charm of Monica. This game must be doing something right, because its peak concurrent player number is over 35,000. Next we have Fap Queen 2. This is a JOI game, jerk-off instruction for those unfamiliar, and this is a very popular style of interactivity that is mostly associated with the femdom flavor. If that flavor appeals to you, this game is free to play on Steam. I'm not going to tell you to do it if you are interested, because we both know you'd like that too much. Next we have Rebirth Mr. Wang. At first I thought this was just going to be another puzzle game, but it actually has a quirky minigame feel like WarioWare. I mean, let's be honest, we all know this is what Wario and Waluigi would be up to if Nintendo actually let them have a choice. So help Mr. Wang into the hearts and other parts of his merry neighbors. Our next game is basically Lupin III meets Killer Clowns from Outer Space. In Frisky Business, yeah, I know what I said, Lupin III meets Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I don't know how else to describe this detective mystery filled with sexiness, campiness, and coulrophobia. Next up is Erophone. This Monster Girl puzzle game has you trying to find the difference between the images on your in-game phone and the scenes of your potential waifus. It's cute, low-key, and has absolutely no killer clowns. And our last Bronze tier game is 3D Hentai Shooter. The cool thing about the factors I used to find the most popular games was that it weeded out all the cheesy, lazy acid games. Well, almost all of them. This game has likely had hundreds of thousands of players, so I can't say it's not popular. I also can't show the video of this ridiculous title. Now we move on to the Silver tier. These 5 games tend to have higher user reviews, and we start seeing most of these games with sales into the hundreds of thousands. Just as a warning, 4 of these are puzzle games if you want to jump ahead. First up is the RPG Match 3 puzzle game Hellgirls. This is basically Puzzle Quest with sex. Now if only this game were as fun as Puzzle Quest, and this would probably be in the Gold tier. Next up is OshiRabu Waifus over Husbandos. This is a slice-of-life Yuri visual novel and is frankly adorable. The hand-drawn images are gorgeous, and if you like Yuri anime, you will very likely enjoy this game. Next is our list only purely yaoi title, Blush Blush. This is an idol clicker dating simulator. I never really understood why people play these on the PC when they were designed for mobile. Blush Blush is free to play, but you will need to spend money for the adult content DLC. Next up is Hentai Memory. This is a solve puzzle, unlock image style game. Why do hundreds of thousands of people play it? It might be because the game has 3,000 unlockable Steam achievements. Seriously, that sounds less like a game and more like a job. And finally, we have Hentai Crush. If you want to know why this game is so popular, this is HuniePop meets Bubble Bobble. And we have all these visual novel developers trying to make the next big game when all you need to do is combine 2 popular game types. I know, no shaming. With the Gold tier, we have all highly rated games with sales solidly in the hundreds of thousands and some going past the million threshold. all of them bring a unique mechanic or a quality polish on an established theme. First up is College Kings. I reviewed this college harem visual novel earlier this year. The developer, Undergrad Steve, has taken the interesting path to make the first act of this game free with additional acts as DLC that you pay for. In just 4 months, there have been an incredible number of people that have chosen to play. It will be interesting to see how many choose to spend money and continue the story. Given the pacing and quality of the first act, I expect that number to be very high. Next up is the Japanese RPG maker game Material Girl. This corruption-themed title is one of the few female protagonist games on the list. This was also the only RPG Maker game that made the list. I wonder if this move away from the RPG Maker engine is exclusive to Steam, or will we start seeing this trend on the Patreon side of the industry as well? I guess we'll just have to see. I covered the yaoi title Blush Blush in the silver tier. Here's the heterosexual version, Crush Crush, from the same developer. What, no Yuri version? Same deal as Blush Blush. Free to play, but you have to pay for the DLC titled Moist and Uncensored. I've covered the next title, Breeders of the Nephelym Alpha, in previous videos. This is a free-to-play customizable monster breeding game. Male, female, Fuda, Breeders of the Nephelym is a big tent that welcomes everyone to an unending 3D orgy adventure. Next up is Summer Memories. This slice-of-life harem adventure is one of those sneaky games where you have to get the patch straight from the developer's website. If you do think of a game that you believe is popular enough that is not on this list, let me know. I spent a long time collecting the games and compiling the metrics, but Steam and many developers don't make it easy to always find which games have adult content. Next up is Cute Honey. I've gotta be honest, you pour water and you have to draw a line to a cup to fill it up. That's it. I have no idea. It has 20,000 followers, 4,000 reviews, and hundreds of thousands of people have played this game. I mean, sure, these are sex games, but filling up cups of water is not what people are talking about when they say a person is thirsty. And finally, we have House Party. I covered this game earlier this week and I had no idea how popular this game was before I started making this list. With what the developers, Eat Games, have planned over the next year, it is very possible that this game will move into the Platinum tier and millions of sales. Speaking of Platinum tier, here we are. These 8 games from 5 franchises led the adult content industry in sales, ratings, and players. I think that everyone will find that they like at least one of these games. First up is my 2020 Adult Content Game of the Year, Benedict Season 1. This harem visual novel helped create the wave of college-themed games that we find ourselves in the midst of. I sometimes feel like this and Summertime Saga are all that some reviewers talk about, but then they are both really popular games that we haven't even seen the finished product of yet. Speaking of unfinished games, next up is Monster Girl Island Prologue. I really love this game, but I am also really concerned about its removal from Patreon. I even talked about how worried I was for the developer Redams before all of this happened in my review of the game. I can only hope we will continue to see development of this awesome title and that everyone involved is doing alright. Next up is the current frontrunner for Game of the Year for 2021, Subverse. So I already made 2 videos about this potentially epic space opera. The game launched at the top of the sales charts for Steam. Not just for adult content games, but for all Steam games. And that was just with the first build. If Subverse can maintain the current quality of content while responding to the gameplay concerns of the community, I expect it to release as the #1 adult content game of all time. But we're not there yet, and there are still 2 franchises to go. At the #2 spot for all-time adult content popularity is the Japanese Catgirl Maid Cafe series, NEKOPARA. I had no idea. This series has sold millions of copies on Steam. I mean, I knew it was popular, and I knew that they raised $1 million to make an anime, but wow. This totally means I have to do a video about it. Look for my NEKOPARA 2 review later this month. And at #1, to absolutely no one's surprise, is the undisputed most popular adult content game of all time, HuniePop. This title sold millions, helped bring adult content gaming into the mainstream on Steam, and unfortunately caused an unending sea of knockoff puzzle games to flood the marketplace. While HuniePop 2 hasn't yet had the same success as the original, it still sold over 100,000 copies in the first 48 hours of launch. I may be trash at puzzle games, but I have to give credit where credit is due. HuniePop is the most popular adult content Steam game of all time. There you have it. I want to thank everyone for their suggestions and feedback as I made this list. A big thanks to my patrons and my Discord channel for letting me pitch them my ideas beforehand. I hope I haven't missed a game, but please do let me know if you think I have. If you look at the number of games on this list from 2020 and 2021, it is yet another sign of how quickly the adult games industry is growing. I have no doubt that a year from now we will see a very different list as more and more games reach sales into the millions and we are presented better and better quality gaming experiences. Well, at least until EA and Activision show up and ruin this space like they have every other. Let me know what you think. What games from this list do you like the most? Am I placing too much hope on Subverse? And what is the deal with cat girls having 2 sets of ears? Do they both work? How does that work? And as always, no shaming, just gaming. Thanks to all this month's supporters on Patreon. I wouldn't have been able to do this without you.